Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the quick fix. People wanting a miraculous sudden change in their life just from one session of healing, and why that might be and what might actually happen. So hopefully this is a useful video for you as a practitioner, but also for people who might want to go and see a healer and what they might expect. So I've done a bit of a contrast from previous videos and articles I've written on my written blog as well. So I've put some examples, one example of each quite recently, of people who've had a sudden miraculous change and people where that didn't happen and it took months to change. So the previous video to this that I uploaded was about a French man who had a sudden miraculous change after one healing session. He had two healing sessions from me, but the second one, it was just a sudden change just from that one particular healing, where his whole life changed just in one go. And if you've been reading my written blog, I did write about a good friend of mine who went to see many different healers, tried lots of different techniques over a long period. None of it worked. And the only thing that worked was a particular technique she tried. And it took months of her trying that technique every night before things started to change for her. So while I do have lots of examples, lots of experiences where people have praised me because their life changed in one or two sessions, lots of examples of what many people might call miraculous changes, and they're very thankful for it. They're still the minority, really, of sessions of clients that I've seen. Most of the time, it takes multiple sessions and usually homework that I give people for them to do themselves, and time, lots of time. So a lot of the time it is a prolonged period of time where people have to change. I've mentioned many times that healing, the essence of healing really is just a shift in vibration. That's all it is really when you crystallize it down. It's just shifting from one state of vibration to another state of vibration, one state of emoting to another state of emoting, one state of thinking in a certain way to thinking in a different way. One state of habits and actions that you may do in the physical world versus changing to another set of habits and actions. So while some people can be quite good at creating quite a quick shift in their life, the majority of us, it takes time. We have to keep repeating that new habit, that new thought, that new emotion, that new action in order for it to solidify, if you like, in our life, in order for us to change to that new state. A lot of people, if they've experienced trying to give up smoking, they might say that, oh, I still had cravings for a long time, and it took a long time for me to not have cravings and not to habitually pick up the cigarette and light it. It took time for me to, hear all the stuff from my friends and to not listen to them and say, okay, this is what I want. Same with dieting, same with exercise, training in the gym, going repeatedly until it becomes the new norm. And the same goes for spiritual practices. A lot of spiritual issues require that you literally be a different person. You cannot expect to go to a healer or practice meditation once and then your life has changed. The majority of people, the experience is that you keep repeating over and over and over until you become a different person. You be a different person and therefore don't experience the same issues that you had before. And the same goes for if you have a physical complaint that you come to a healer with, an emotional complaint, an over chatty mind, trying to quieten that, an entity in the astral bothering you, whatever it may be. being a different vibration, therefore being a different person, is what is required for permanent change. Yes, you can quite often go to a healer and you feel better after it, but if you go back to your old habits in the way you think, the way you feel, the way you act, the way you approach the spiritual world, don't be surprised if it comes back. And that's why a lot of people do go back to a healer over and over again. So what do you do if you are going to someone for healing or receiving any sort of therapy in any form that it may be? The first thing to realize is that you really do need to be a different person in order to experience something different. So if you want to solve a particular issue, no matter whether it's physical or spiritual or anything else in between, you've got to be a different person. You can't expect to just put a little bit of effort in and then going back to your old way of thinking and acting and doing and expect that it will never come back again, the issue that you had. It's not going to work. You have to be a different person. You have to have a different lifestyle, a different outlook, a different belief, whatever it may be. You need to change in order for that issue that you were facing to permanently go away. And I've seen it through all my careers, the same habits that people do. So anyone who's followed my background may notice that I used to work as a biochemist for a number of years. I worked as a personal trainer and group exercise instructor. I worked as an osteopath, and now I work as a healer, doing alternative therapy. In all of those jobs, a lot of people expected to go to the gym, for a few weeks and expect, after they lost a bit of weight and felt a bit fitter, that they would stay that way, going back to their old habits of not exercising and not eating healthy. It's not going to work. If you lose a bit of weight and then go back to the diet you had before you practiced losing weight and exercising, you're going to gain that weight again, aren't you? You're going to lose that fitness and you're just going to go back to square one again. You've got to be a different person in order to maintain the benefits of training in a gym and changing your diet. It was the same as an osteopath. People coming in and me popping their back and rubbing things and moving the fascia and then feeling better. And then I give them exercises to, to do at home to try and maintain the benefits and help them improve themselves. But sure enough, the vast majority of people would come back with the same complaint because they didn't follow through with the exercise advice and the stretching and whatever else I taught them about. Same with this current job as well, with the spiritual stuff. I remove an entity from someone, remove an energy block from somewhere, they feel better, they say thank you, Grant. I give them some advice on things they can do to maintain the benefits or improve on it so that it won't come back. Do the vast majority follow that advice? No. They come back and said, oh, the entities come back or the problems come back. Oh, we need to shift it again. I said, well, did you follow the advice? No. Same with my wife's work. She's a naturopathic nutritionist. And, sometimes even the simple dietary changes can make huge effects with people's lives. And they say how their skin is cleared up, or they feel healthier, or they no longer have a stomach problem after following her advice for, however many days or weeks. And then they say, oh, I got a problem again. Can you give me some more advice? And my wife will say, well, did you carry on following the advice I gave you to maintain the benefits? No. Went back to drinking, went back to eating, all the other rubbish that they ate. So it seems, a similar pattern that us therapists, whatever type of therapists we are, that we come across time and time again. People want that quick fix. They want that supplement. They want that miraculous healing and want to believe that it won't come back again if they just go back to the way they were before. So this is one of the key things I'm trying to get across in this video. You've got to be a different person. You've got to have a different lifestyle, a different belief, a different outlook, a different habit in order to maintain the benefits and not go back to the state you were. Probably, the pharmaceutical companies out there, people are used to just taking a pill and feeling better after it, and that's what they want from all other aspects in their life. It's not going to work. Okay. A lot of the people who take those pills carry on taking those pills for the rest of their life because they still don't work on the underlying issues. So yes, you get the idea. I've given you lots of examples through different professions I've had and other people have had. You get the idea, right? Permanent change requires being different, being a different vibration, being a different person. Okay. Yeah, and without repeating myself too much, be open to miraculous changes because they do happen, and I will maybe do a video on that of why that might be, why some people can just suddenly let go of the old vibration and get into the new, and why people might not be able to do that. Okay, so I hope it's useful understanding this society and this habit of wanting a quick fix and not changing themselves for the better to be better. And I will do some other videos surrounding this subject, so I do actually have a list in front of me. Yes, the law of dominant frequencies. Yes, that will be a good video to do next. And it will tie in a little bit with what I've been saying here as well with miraculous healings. So that might be interesting for you. Anyway, I hope that's interesting. I hope that's useful for you as a practitioner, but also as someone who's receiving healing. I didn't talk too much about being a practitioner, did I actually? Yeah, what can you do as a practitioner? Yes, the main thing is education, really. A lot of the time you are going to get people who will come to you for 1 or 2 appointments and they'll disappear and they will go to another healer and go and see all sorts of different therapists, and they might come back to you and realize, okay, maybe I needed a bit more of that. Maybe I needed to follow through with the advice. A lot of them you don't hear from again, unfortunately. A lot of helping people sort of go through the process properly is education, really talking with them. You might like to, for the first session, explain that. Explain your experiences with other people that you've healed and with the same situations they are going through. And highlight the fact that, it requires them to be a different person, for them to continually make efforts until it becomes a new habit so that the problem doesn't come back. So that's the key thing. And I have talked about this in previous videos. It's very important sometimes, quite often more important actually, to talk about things rather than just do energy healing so that they can maintain those benefits. Okay. So yeah, hopefully this has been useful. If you'd like to continue to support this channel, please do like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you want. And I will see you in the next video.